Today we'll be doing a mini deep dive into early 3D platform games, exploring the ins and outs of Jumping Flash on the PS1.
A black shadow threatening the safety of peaceful worlds. An evil scientist who frightens children and is bent on slavery. A giant robot has seized the peaceful world and carried it off. Aloha's evil plan is to turn it into a huge private retreat for himself. Universal City Hall, here to help the people. Robert can do the job. Let's go, Robert! Jump and go!
Revealed in early 1994 under the project name Springman, Jumping Flash was designed as a technology showpiece for the all-new powerful Sony PlayStation and released by Sony Computer Entertainment the following year throughout Japan, Europe and North America. It went on to pick up numerous awards such as 32-bit Game of the Year, PlayStation Game of the Year and Best New Character from GameFan Mega Awards, Game of the Month from Electronic Gaming Monthly, and holds the Guinness World Record for first platform game in true 3D. Sony Computer Entertainment, or SCE, hoped Jumping Flash, being this robotic bunny named Robert, will go down in history as a new platform star in the same vein and longevity as Sonic the Hedgehog or Mario, but we all quite know it didn't turn out that way. The main concept for Jumping Flash was borrowed by a producer at SCE from a 6-minute experimental piece of animation released in 1984 titled Jumpin' by the famous Osamu Tezuka. If you don't know who he is considered the Japanese equivalent to Walt Disney, and Astro Boy would likely be the manga series that most people in the West would have heard of. But going back to his title Jumpin', I in fact attended an animation course at university in 1999, and along with Pixar's short Red's Dream, it was one of the first pieces of animation they showed us. And it's astonishing how even watching it today throws your sense of balance off. Well, if you've not seen it, I recommend you do, and put it in a link below. It's documented that the same producer at SCE wanted to turn that floating feeling you got from watching it into a video game. However, SCE were aware of the 1990 game Alpha Waves from Infogrames and heavily adopted the gameplay, given how extremely similar its jumping-centric nature is. Moving and bouncing off platforms while the player has control of the in-game camera is no coincidence. SCE did, however, make it obvious that they wanted to expand on the stunning accomplishment of Geograph Seal by the developers Exact, which is short for Excellent Application Create Team in 1994. So much so that Sony's Director of Entertainment in Japan, Koji Tada, teamed Exact up with the company Ultra, who were quite famous at the time for having done the computer graphics for the popular Japanese TV show Yugu Yugu Yuga, also known as Wham Boom Bang in English territories, which was heavily edited for Western audiences while originally full of very weird things. Jumping Flash is commonly referenced as the spiritual successor to Geograph Seal, even though Geograph Seal was a first-person shooter which was released the year prior in 1994 for the Sharp X68000, which I got to play Final Fight on actually at last year's Retrocon event in London, and it actually belonged to the owner of Monster Joysticks, Ian Lee, who I was able to have a really good chat with. And that's predominantly because they share the same game engine and a lot of gaming features. Even the font for the text is the same. It's just whereas visually Geograph Seal may resemble Atari's arcade hard driving or perhaps Hunter for the Amiga and Atari ST, just with a lot less polygons. The Sharp was only capable of rendering roughly 100 polygons at any given time. Jumping Flash obviously could push a lot more, being on PS1 hardware and with textured polygons, while obviously being true 3D, whereas the reason the Guinness World Record wasn't awarded to Geograph Seal was that it employed a 2D fixed background, although apart from that it was fully 3D rendered, which was an incredible feat for the time. As for the future of the developers Exact, staff were mostly integrated into Sony as Japan Studio, who were arguably Sony's best developer and made a significant number of games, and important games too, for the PlayStation for 26 years. We're talking Gran Turismo, The Legend of Dragoon, Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, even titles to the PS5 like Demon's Soul. Sadly, they did go defunct in April 2021, as Sony didn't renew most of the employees' contracts, and further announcements of deploying caused many other staff to announce their departure, but Geograph Seal was Japan Studio's starting block, so a very interesting span of video game history there. As for the mechanics and gameplay for Jumping Flash, it's viewed through a first-person perspective and the player can freely walk in three-dimensional space, rotate the camera in any direction, and the game has 6 worlds with 3 levels each, so 18 main levels, but 7 of those being boss levels, as well as an extra 6 bonus stages available. The objective for this first level and the second is to collect 4 jet pods with the letters E, X, I and T, spelling exit on them, before landing on the exit pad. Then the third level is your boss fight, and that pattern repeats throughout. International versions of the game outside the Japanese original do contain a fair amount of changes, most notably perhaps is the North American version, as it omits the in-between world cutscenes, most likely due to concerns over the consumption of alcohol in a game targeted at children. Despite its innovation and critical acclaim, Jumping Flash was eventually overshadowed by later 3D platformers of the 5th console generation, such as Super Mario 64, which became somewhat the standard for the genre, and I'll be including that in this upcoming series. IGN's original review gave Jumping Flash just a 7.5 out of 10, stating that despite some of the relatively small worlds and easy difficulty, it's a great genre-pushing game. Later, however, in 2007, IGN went on to describe Jumping Flash as the third most underrated video game of all time. Do you agree with IGN? Or can you think of perhaps other 3D platforms that are more underrated and deserving of praise? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of the video, and if you enjoyed this content, we'll be releasing more mini deep dives into further 3D platform games soon, so please subscribe so you don't miss out. You can also join up to our private Facebook group, Retro Gaming Hysteria, and get rewarded with daily questions, games and reviews. Till next time!